Coming up on today's show, we have the MotoGP result from Laguna Seca.
Ben's going to be explaining what highsiding is.
We've got all the tweets of the week.
And Moaning Martha's back. What's rattled her cage this week?
Let's go! Welcome to the race room. It's the 24th of July. Here's the news.
At the weekend in MotoGP, Marc Marquez won out at Laguna Seca. He took quite a while to overtake Stefan Bradl, who'd started in pole position. But the big overtake of the race was when Marquez overtook Valentino Rossi. Oh my goodness, it was breathtaking. He went round the outside and off the track at the corkscrew. Marc Marquez is now leading the championship. He's 16 points ahead of his teammate Dani Pedrosa.
In other MotoGP news, Casey Stoner will move back into two wheels. He's been racing in the V8 Supercar Support Series in Australia, and it's just been announced that the two-time MotoGP champion will return for some tests with Honda at the Motegi Ring. 4 tests over the coming months.
And talking of tests, it was the young driver test at Silverstone last week. Sebastian Vettel was the fastest, but Daniel Ricciardo, who was racing for Red Bull, or testing for Red Bull, he put in a good performance, but will it be enough to nudge Kimi Räikkönen out of the running for Mark Webber's seat? Who knows? Another person who managed 89 laps was Susie Wolff. She did well, the only woman testing, but she thought she'd done enough to secure some practice for Williams throughout the year. But it's now been announced that they will keep Pastor Maldonado and Valtteri Bottas running on the Fridays during practice.
The big racing of the weekend was in Spielberg in Austria, where the World Series by Renault was racing alongside the European Le Mans Series. In World Series, it was a double victory for Lotus and Marco Sorensen. But for the championship fight, it's between two men, Kevin Magnussen, son of Jan Magnussen, and Stoffel Vandoorne, who is actually supported by McLaren. Now, Stoffel had a dreadful weekend, 2 DNFs, whereas Kevin Magnussen got 2 third places and therefore now leads the championship by 30 points.
And Austria has been in the news because it is now confirmed that they will be hosting a Grand Prix next year for the Formula One in 2014. Just got to wait for that rubber stamp from the FIA, but if Bernie's agreed it. Now, Kamui Kobayashi was out in Moscow doing a demo run with Ferrari, but in the wet, he hit a bump and crashed off into the side, taking out his front right corner. Luckily, Ferrari had taken 2 cars with them. Perhaps they had a premonition. So he was back out again quickly as possible. But if the other F1 teams were watching, perhaps this could hinder his chances of a return to F1.
And now, the big one.
We had some very sad news at the weekend that Andrea Antonelli had died during a World Supersport race out in Moscow. And it got me thinking that there's been a lot of crashes recently in MotoGP. Jorge Lorenzo, Dani Pedrosa, Marc Marquez, and these guys go out there risking their lives, but it usually looks like they just hop back on the bike and all is all right. But I wanted to know, what is it that causes these crashes? They say it's highsiding, but I'm not sure what it is, so I asked Ben to explain it for me.
So we couldn't find a MotoGP bike or indeed a MotoGP rider. So instead, to explain what highsiding is, we have Miss Tennant on a road bike.
Hello.
So basically we're shooting down the front straightaway and we've got maybe a left-hand turn coming up.
Okay.
What happens is the bike just leans over to one side. So if you can lean.
Oh.
Very good.
Oh.
So a nice good angle through that first turn, high speed, and if Rosanna's a little bit over-exuberant with her left wrist, often happens, the bike will stop going forwards and the rear wheel will come out this way, like this.
And, my goodness, I bet Marc Marquez has exactly the same trouble.
As soon as that rear wheel starts spinning, the force is going this way rather than forwards, and when the rear wheel grips back up, it will ping the bike back upwards with huge force. Imagine 160 miles an hour, back up she goes like this, and Rosanna goes flying into the air. So Rosanna, does that make a bit more sense now?
Yes, it does. I didn't think it would, but it does, even though I was trying to stay on the bike a little bit there.
And it's incredible to see those riders being flung so high up in the air. I guess it's one of the reasons why we enjoy watching MotoGP.
Yes, I know, it does. Well, it gives a thrill, I suppose.
At Paul Henbury, Silverstone track temp 47 degrees. You won't see that very often.
Now this is Paul Henbury, the big dog at Pirelli, tweeting about the track temperature. 47 degrees sounds nice and cosy to me.
Yeah, but the main problem about the testing for the last few days at Silverstone was this massive temperature isn't really relevant to what we're going to see at race circuits in the coming months.
And
okay.
Very unusual for Silverstone.
Well, yes, there is that. Hungary's going to be hot, but it's a slow speed circuit, so it's not the same for the tyres. So a tricky one, and maybe Mercedes dodged a bullet.
Maybe, exactly. Next tweet, please.
At Citroen Racing. Have you lost something, Seb?
And what is Sebastian looking for?
Well, this is the rear end of his beautiful new World Touring car, and that's about as far as we can get in working out what the car actually is as yet. But obviously, Mr. Loeb is very interested in its rear end.
Usually he sits on the bonnet as well, so things have all changed now since he's about to retire from WRC.
At JB Trust Tri. Welcome to the Jensen Button Trust Triathlon Twitter account.
Now, I will stop going on about the triathlon with Jensen Button at some point, but this was the first tweet that JB Trust Tri tweeted.
Well done them. And they raised at least £30,000 from that event a couple of weeks back. So
absolutely.
Bravissimo.
Well done, and onward to next year. You'll be there too, Ben.
No. Next tweet, quickly.
At Dell SMB UK. F1 is all about the car, and the car is all about technology. Read how Dell supports my Caterham F1 team.
Right, Ben. F1 is all about the car. I don't agree with that.
Well, maybe a robot could drive it one day, but for the moment we have a driver, and that's probably the most important thing.
And I think probably also about the teams and the tracks and the tyres.
Oh,
You've heard a bit about them recently. And then there's that big man, Bernie Ecclestone.
It's all about him.
At Lewis Hamilton. If you found that special someone, don't ever let them go, no matter what. Nothing in this world is more important.
Now, Lewis Hamilton's heartbroken, it seems.
Oh, me and Lewis, jeez.
You guys got some,
got some beef
something
together.
in common there. He's missing Nicole Scherzinger. I'm feeling sad for him. He's lost his mojo.
Yeah, but actually he was a faster racing driver when he didn't have her the last couple of months, so...
Maybe he's better off without her. Well, there we go.
Ouch.
Next tweet.
At Rachel Brooks TV. Have never seen this symbol weather before. Ouch. Hungarian GP F1. Good news for Ferrari and Lotus.
I have never seen a matchstick on a weather report before. I've seen sunshine, I've seen amber, red alerts, but never a matchstick.
That's a sun. We know what rain looks like, and a matchstick doesn't... Is that just saying fire?
Fire, fire in Budapest this weekend. Watch out. It is going to be hot, hot, hot.
Scorchio, 37 at least.
And that's Tweets of the Week.
Last week, you met a new member to our team, Moaning Martha, out on the park bench. And she's got beef. She's got lots more beef, this time about the UK sporting scene.
Well, what a sizzling summer of sport us Brits have had. First it was Justin Rose, the golfer. He won the US Open. Well done, my son. And then it was the Lions. They gave the Aussies a big thumping. And our lovely taciturn Andy Murray, a Scotsman, but he pulled it together at Wimbledon and gave Novak Djokovic, I like to say Djokic, a real thrashing. He won! And now it's the Aussies' turn to be thrashed over here by our cricketers. They're 2-0 up at the moment in the Ashes. And at the weekend, Chris Froome, he's English too. Might have been born in Kenya, but we'll take it. Yellow seems to suit him, doesn't it? But then, you look at motorsport. Well, we are not exactly putting great in Great Britain, are we? Well, Lewis Hamilton hasn't even won a race this year, and his teammate Nico Rosberg's won 2. Jensen Button, well, he's only scored 33 points. What is going on at McLaren? 33? That's his age, not his points. And Paul di Resta, he's only done 3 better with 36. Not exactly something to write home about. And Max Chilton, well, I'm sure your father's proud of you, son. Looking at MotoGP, Cal Crutchlow's not exactly doing any good. He finished behind Jorge Lorenzo at the weekend in Laguna Seca. Jorge Lorenzo's held together by a metal plate. So come on, Britain, let's do it. We can do it together. Make Nana proud.
Oh, you can't shut that Moaning Martha up. Who do you think will be the first Brit on the podium next?
In Formula One, who knows, but hopefully Lewis will get one soon.
Come on, Lewis, you can do it, even without Nicole.
And now,
Woo!
the world map.
Where are we going this weekend?
Where are we going?
What is happening?
Well, obviously, as we've already mentioned, Budapest is going to be Scorchio, and that is somewhere over here.
Got a star, the heat. Oh.
for hot Formula 1, GP2 and GP3. And also, it's going to be less hot and very unpredictable in Spa for the 24 hours. Also, British Formula 3 will be competing there.
So lots to look forward to, but pole position, we are not going to be at Budapest because we're here. We are going to be doing a massive gaming day with 10 of you lucky viewers. We're doing an awesome day in a secret location. Be there. And we're also doing comments below.
Indeed, so comment below for your questions under here and make sure you subscribe for free. See you next week.
See you then. Bye. We are hosting an exclusive gaming day in a secret location. Check out our